was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like
forward.
a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Peter John. I am a social activist, a historian, archivist, and a photographer.
My name is Mnedi. I'm an anti-neoliberal globalization activist in our communities.
My name is Jennifer Joseph. I'm working here by the community house for 23 years.
My name is Xola Kosha and I'm with Housing Assembly. I work with the youth.
So my name is Khalib Khalant. I'm an information warrior. I work with the Right to Know campaign in the Western Cape.
My name is Kolema Kokoza and I'm convener for Housing Assembly. I'm staying in Athlone Informal Settlement for nearly 30 years.
Does government represent the will of the people? So which people? All right. And the people is arguably 60 million people in South Africa. All right. Of all colors, all classes, etc. But yet when we answer the question, I'm looking very much at me and my own lived experience. Okay? So I haven't seen a difference in 24 years, so clearly government's doing nothing. Is how I experience it. But is that the truth, really? When you've got 60 million people that that government needs to govern. And then for me, there's another question in there, which is, what is it that we expect from government? So when we look at the housing situation or sanitation or unemployment, etc., are we putting all the responsibility at the door of government is a question, right? And where was that? Where did that notion of sort of vukuzenzele, wake up and do it for yourself, kind of self-starting, etc., go? Now, in and of itself, it's a contested notion. But is it that we have to just be the recipients of, and how much of that can also be stuff that we do?
Ever since I can remember, ever since the inception of this new democracy, this democracy dispensation, ever since 96 actually, when growth, employment and redistribution policy from the IMF was constructed here in South Africa and developed, there has been more than, in that year, 1996, more than 1 million jobs. More than 1 million people were retrenched from work. And it happened year and year and year after. There hasn't been job creation, all around the Western Cape, for where I've been for some time. You find these labor brokers. The union has been just preaching that they are going to abolish labor brokers, but labor brokers are still there. There hasn't been job creation. So how are we supposed to survive in such a scenario? And even when you go and register there by the CIPC, Companies Intellectual Property Commission, let's say you register your cooperative or your PTY LTD company, you just register it for nothing because you won't get support. It's a process. If you are unemployed, you want to establish a business, it's a process. You have to travel with money. You open up a bank account, a check account, which costs more than 1,000. And, it's just not doable for us as poor people. So we are left, we are left in the dark,
I'm the only one who's working in my house. I got 7. We are 7. And I'm the only 8. But I'm the only one who's working in the dark. So I must work. I can't stay at home here. I can't even want to go to the doctor because I'm scared. I can't lose money. Then we go there and set your problems. They ask you, what is your problem? They come out, they look so, then they leave it. No, why they are there? You see? So they don't give us people together or something. They leave us like that. Okay, I was there. Leave it. End of the story. I was there, so what must I do now? Then they give you a reference number. You see, you give the reference number, then they go again. That people didn't do nothing. And even the matric people, they don't get work because there is no work for them. They sit in their houses. What must they do? Then you hear they're pregnant because there's no work for them. Huh?
Is it true that there's been no job creation? Because I'm really interested in this, right? Because I agree, we've lost lots of jobs and industries have closed in the Western Cape. The textiles industry, for example, shut down as a result of gear. But we also see that the Western Cape as a province is the province with the highest number of jobs that have been created year on year. Okay, so when we listen to, for example, what government is saying, provincial government, would say that relative to Gauteng or KZN or Eastern Cape or whatever, more jobs have been created. Question is, in what sector? You know, are we able to pick up those jobs? I mean, there are a whole range of questions. But I'm questioning this notion that there's been no job creation.
A lot of the jobs that they claim as being created are low-paying, contract positions with limited benefits, and any normal person, like for years, I worked for museum services. I was an EPWP. I came with qualifications and experience, but they never made me permanent. But every year, when they do the stats, they'd say, this is a fully employed person. Not necessarily. There's a difference between having employment, like even a guy who stands on the corner and begs as a form of employment. But that's not a living or a livable kind of employment. A real job, something you can support and build yourself and support a family with. That is what I think most people are getting at when they say there's not been a lot of jobs created. The service industry, as much as it brings in foreign revenue for provincial government or national government, most of the jobs that people say are created in that. And in that, it means jobs where you basically serve the rich foreign people, which is not, in my book, a job. That it's a necessity, but it's not a real job.
That is true, because why? There's no work for our people, but there's work for that people. That's why the crime is there. Because they haven't got work. Now they must go do this for that drug or what, because they haven't got to kill you, rob you for that, because for the people in South Africa there's no work, but outside people is all here, they got shops everywhere, but our people get nothing. So how can they live like that? So they must rob them for the people.
So for me, what I can say, really coming to your question, is that, in my organization, Housing Assembly, as we go through right communities from all over Western Cape, we find out there are qualified people, which have gone schooling and finished. They've got all the degrees. They are sitting there. They apply for jobs. And, but there's nothing which is coming back to them. And then it comes to this, those qualified, and then when you talk about Vukuzenzele, right? People have tried to do that, and they're still doing that. But now, what we've seen, the government put pressure on the people, you must, do this, there, and they are going around and taking the people things and throw them away. They are preventing the very same people which are trying to stand up and do something for them. Then there is, I don't know which laws they bring out of nowhere. Now people must not stand. Where do you have to? There was this question of, at least if government can come and maybe make stands for the people, if they don't want, they can build something, for people that, here's your stand, like in Kailicha, you find out there's Chisanyama, people have some stands there, and so on and so on. But on another side now, this side, something like that is not allowed.
So, in what you're asking, is it really around full employment, as PJ was talking about, a job? In the old days, it used to be you had a job for life.
Yes.
People got 30-year long service awards and whatnot. But that's not the world of work at the moment, right? The current world of work, that sort of long tenure doesn't really exist anymore, okay? So we also see that there's technological advances, and so lots of jobs have been overtaken by robots or machines or whatever. So that reality is no longer there. But what I hear from you is more, is there something that rather than guaranteeing that permanent job, is there something that we can do to support people in order to, for example, you talked about having a stand for yourself so that you can also be sustainable and self-supporting or whatever. Would that be more in terms of what you're suggesting?
Yeah, in our areas, like, people are always going around, to find something for them. But when we do those stands, the support is there around us in the location. Everyone is supporting everyone. We have businesses next to each other, but informal businesses. But there's no fighting between those people. It's everyone. If I don't have something, I say, go there to next door. So in that sense, yeah. So that is how we're trying to put food on the table. But on the other side, there is this issue of unemployment of the people. So there is an issue of drugs. And when these things are still there, there will be a crime forever. There will be crime forever if government doesn't try and formulate something to the youth. They are growing up, they are already jobless. It's so people must eat. The stomach is never enough for a whole day or for 2 days. You eat now, 5 hours later you're hungry again, you must eat. What do you do now when you're not working? You have to go and look for somebody who's coming from work or whatsoever to sustain yourself, Yeah, it's very, very typical. So it's just clear this government is not there for us.
If Mandela was alive, this wasn't like this. Because when he was a man for his words, but the God take him so early because he will do things right here in this world. You see, he go to the jail for nothing. They vote for Mandela. Mandela come out for apartheid en allemaal die. En hy het hy reg gekry. Maar hy het net te vroeg dood gegaan. Hy sal miskien nog 'n verandering in die wêreld gemaak het tussen die mense.
A luta continua. So the struggle will always continue. And so will it improve in my lifetime? For sure. It has already improved for me post-1994. So I really have that optimism that if we can continue to engage, then yeah, things will change. Will they change for the better or the worse? We've just had 8 years of a crisis, a governance crisis. So we're in a worse position collectively. I think the only way is up if we pull together. So in my lifetime, I'm optimistic that things will change for the better.
I don't think things will change for the better. I mean, if it's been so many years and things haven't really changed for the good, for the better, what's going to change now?
I believe in pre-1994, that time of apartheid, the white man was always making sure that there is no loose children in our areas in location. They were going about, ask if they see 3, 4 youngsters going around the street. Hey, why are you here? Why are you not at school? Why are you not working? So, they were trying to find that, make sure that these children must go to school. Those who are supposed to work, they must go to work. We used to go just meet them all along the way. They make us not go and see Mr. So-and-so in the labor department. And we will all get jobs. Then permanent jobs, not like this, what is happening today. So I'm not sure if there is going to be any change in my lifetime.
My dream is, like we said in this session, that we finally find that unity and that we actually challenge the heart of the system.
My dream is to have this democratic capitalist government to be overthrown.
My dream is everything must come right inside Africa and all must stand together.
My dream is for everyone to have a 50-50 chance.
My dream is that we let go of the familiar and we try something new.
My dream is to have all my grandchildren find work.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.